because you can have it whenever you want it.
So what does the science say about whether or not intuitive eating works? The first thing to get out of the way, and Elise really drove this home with me, is that intuitive eating is not for weight loss. What it does seem to be good for is helping people maintain their weight. It also correlates with improved psychological health, better body image and self-esteem, reduced disordered eating, including binge eating or emotional eating. And some studies have even shown improvements in health indicators like glucose levels and blood pressure. Long story short, the research is mixed. The effect really depends on the person. Which brings us back to Veronica. When we left off, she'd just discovered intuitive eating after a little more than a year of calorie restriction had led to some seriously disordered eating. Veronica joined a Facebook group for support, and based on what she read there, established her own guidelines for intuitive eating. The first of which is a direct echo of what Elise was telling me.
I would try to see all foods as equal. I would no longer measure or weigh my food. I also decided that I would not weigh myself.
Veronica also tried, for the first time in her life, to eat mindfully. She cut out distractions like TV or eating with friends. And when she couldn't, she just tried to focus on the moment-to-moment experience, how the food tasted, how it felt in her mouth. And Veronica says all of that really helped, especially in the first few weeks, to tune in with the whole process. I asked her whether it was tough at first, letting go of all of her rules for eating.
I think it actually felt really liberating because I knew that, I had one less thing to worry about, so to speak. So I was really happy, and even though I was also a little bit scared because I knew that my body would change, that I was undoing, quote unquote, my progress, but I had a lot of hope for this idea, and I really wanted to achieve this food freedom, and I didn't really want food to control my life anymore.
Which is not to say there wasn't a learning curve. Shortly after Veronica had started intuitive eating, she went on a trip to Amsterdam, where she bought a bunch of chocolate bars to give to her friends and family. She ended up with quite a few left.
I think I ate like 5 full-size chocolate bars in a day, but because I was set on actually achieving the food freedom, so even like eating 5 chocolate bars in a day wasn't really making me feel bad about myself.
Veronica says this was one of the biggest things that changed for her when she started doing intuitive eating.
Because before I would be just, full of guilt and full of self-loathing and full of hate towards myself after I would eat a big meal. But now it was something I just would be neutral towards.
Veronica says she does think she gained weight in the beginning, but she didn't freak out. She knew it was part of the process. And now, 3 years into intuitive eating, Veronica says it's still working well. She feels better physically and mentally. She eats when she's hungry, without embarrassment or shame. And even though the goal wasn't weight loss, Veronica says she's back down to the same size she was when she was calorie restricting. Maybe most importantly, she feels like she's in control of how she eats.
I never imagined myself as the kind of person who, eats one slice changed my life.
That story was reported by Liz Tong. Just to be clear, the neuroscientist we've been talking to, Joel Pearson, he is absolutely opposed to the idea that we can apply intuition to something as primal as food and hunger. But he admits his take is controversial.
I think it's a really bad idea. The same way we shouldn't use intuition around any addictive substances. nicotine or alcohol, things that can create a craving, or behavioral addiction, social media. That craving can feel a lot like intuition, and it's not intuition. It's simply a form of addiction. So things that drive those primal brain systems, and we get that urge, for the extra tub of ice cream or donuts, right? That is not intuition, right? That's a biological urge from those primal brain systems. So stay well away from intuition. Don't confuse the two.
So my body is not going to be like, oh, you need to eat broccoli right now. Probably.
Well, probably not. Yeah, you've got to fight those brain systems that have evolved through evolution to sort of tip you towards sugar and carbohydrates and fats for survival reasons. So if you can push those aside and retrain your system, then maybe. But for most of us, most of the time, our brain is going to push us towards those kinds of foods.
Before we go, I wanted to ask Joel, what do we stand to gain from understanding intuition better? What could come out of all this research?
I think the implications of the practical uses are just huge.